either pay me one way with your check or pay me another way with your body. You're a strong, beautiful woman. If you made the money and you have the money to pay for your car repairs, pay for them with your money and not your body.
Every day cannot be Christmas, and if you happen to be a bad parent, someday you'll end up getting what you deserve. Mr. Little claimed he was tricked by Ms. Clifton into paying for child support because he felt he was the father of her twins, only to find out that another man was also paying for child support. The case began like this.
Now you say you are seeking the results of a paternity test to prove he's their father and to get him to pay up once again.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Little, you argue that when Miss Clifton's twins were 4 months old, you learned another man had claimed them as his own.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your
Now,
Honor.
you say she's all about the money.
Yes.
And she's not getting any more from you.
Correct, Your Honor.
At least we know she doesn't feel bad about having two men pay the bills for her twins. The question on everyone's mind is how they found themselves in such a situation. Did it start as a romantic relationship, or was it just a business in bed kind of thing? Well, Mr. Little gave his account of how they met.
Now, me and Ashanti, we met a few years ago, and we ended up spending a lot of time together as me being her personal mechanic.
Oh, a personal mechanic.
Yes, ma'am. She was looking for a vehicle, and I was helping her search for a good vehicle. So we spent a lot of time back and forth looking for cars.
So you really are a car mechanic.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
I have to side with Judge Lauren on that one. What are the odds of that actually happening? Anyway, after Mr. Little gave his account of how he and Ms. Clifton got together, the judge asked Ms. Clifton to tell the court how she remembered the situation, and she began her story like this.
A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, I was looking for a vehicle. She told me, I know a place that you can go. The mechanic there, he's nice, good to look at. He'll probably work on your car for a little or nothing. He's supposed
When
to be
she
single.
said you need a good mechanic, didn't she mean just in your Rolodex, not in your bed?
Yes, in my Rolodex. But it takes two. I didn't proposition him for sex. It takes two. Now we engaged together.
Ow! Even Judge Lauren wasn't expecting that truth bomb. So, Mr. Little had a wife all along and was kicking it in bed with Ms. Clifton? Wow. Mr. Little tried to deny the situation, telling the judge that when they got together, he and his wife were separated, and they never had plans of getting back together. But there was more to the story.
My car worked on. I still kept him as my
No, Your Honor.
I still kept him as
No,
my
Your Honor.
noted and trusted mechanic because he's the only person that knows my car. Why would I
Your
go
Honor.
somewhere else? I can still pay you. I pay you for services, so I can still pay you
Your
for
Honor,
services.
Miss Clifton, she actually came by my job, then immediately she propositioned me for sex. Okay.
Wait a minute.
I
What
interject.
happened now, Miss Clifton?
He had been working on my car. We separated for about 2 years.
Mr. Little is one bad man. Looks like he accepts payment in all kinds of ways, given the right circumstances. Moving on, Ms. Clifton finds out she's pregnant, and she immediately tells Mr. Little about the pregnancy. Surprisingly, he did not deny the baby. He claimed he trusted the fact that Ms. Clifton wouldn't lie to him about being pregnant.
She calls me, I think I'm pregnant. I didn't question her. I didn't say, is it mine or why you calling me? Immediately, because I've known her in the past and I know she's not the one to even play like that. So yes, I was like, okay, well she's pregnant, okay, cool, I guess we're having a kid.
At that point, you accepted
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
were the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you start doubting it?
I get a random text.
Let's just say Ms. Clifton ran out of luck trying to play the love triangle with two different men. Now, after Mr. Little found the text, he started to have doubts about being the father of the twins. The woman he trusted had lied to him, and now trusting anything she said felt like an impossible task.
Why would he think it would be a possibility? But you tell me they're mine, but you tell me, no, they're not his. But after I text you, you tell me, yes, he thinks it's a possibility. Why would he think that if you all hadn't been together previous before me and her?
So does this other man, does he know the children, have a relationship with them too?
He has a relationship with me, and he comes to see me. My kids
And
are
the
there.
kids, Your
My kids are always with me. I'm a real mom.
Take a chill pill, Ms. Clifton. I mean, she lied to him in the first place, so why is she acting like he's the villain? Judge Lauren noticed Ms. Clifton was trying to throw most of the blame on Mr. Little, and as you would expect, she was not going to entertain that in her courtroom. Judge Lauren gave Ms. Clifton a piece of her mind by saying this.
To use him, but to get some help from him, I might reach out to you, Judge, if we ain't got nothing. I'm gonna reach out to the gang. If my kids need something, I'm reaching
And
out.
when you reach out to me,
It's a
you
yes
will
or
hear
no.
me say, don't have no kids you can't afford to take care of.
Absolutely.
So stop to be on social media. So you have to be on social social media.
Well, Ms. Clifton got on the judge's nerves, that's for sure. After all the yapping from Ms. Clifton, Judge Lauren decided she wanted to hear from the witness she brought. Trust me, you could feel the anger and hatred she had towards Mr. Little.
Well, first of all, my daughter's self-sufficient. She's always worked and gone to school, and I'm very proud of her. And Sam started out being a proud father, and I think jealousy raised this ugly head, which made him stop. You know, I taught my daughter to be self-sufficient, and if one won't, the other one will. When he stopped doing what he was gonna do, he left her and I to do what we are duty-bound to do, and that's raise them beautiful twins. And his old long head, no, them his children.
I very much doubt these guys are going to get their case settled with all the yelling that's going on in the courtroom. The DNA results were in, and Judge Lauren was ready to reveal the identity of the father. Fingers crossed, people.
Mr. Little, you are not.
Not. God, I can't believe that. Or not? I thought for sure.
What are you thinking?
I don't know, because to be honest with you, I actually thought they were,
I do too.
to be honest with you.
In this situation, Mr. Watson wanted nothing more than to get married to his fiancée. The only problem was that he claimed his fiancée was sleeping with 2 different men, making him believe that he might not be the father of their 4-year-old son. He opened his case to the judge like this.
Mr. Watson, you are in court to prove that you are not the biological father of the defendant's 4-year-old son, Kevin. You say that while you were away, Ms. Mahoney was having sexual relationships with 2 different men, and either of them could be the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
For his sake and the hope of saving their relationship, let's hope the results come out in his favor. His fiancée, Ms. Mahoney, got very emotional when she was asked how the whole situation was affecting her and her child. Mr. Watson, on the other hand, was not bothered by any of that. All he wanted was to know if he was the father of the child.
Paternity doubt affecting your child.
Hard. He takes it hard. He looks up to him a lot. Sometimes he gets real short-tempered with him, and he just he'll sit by him and he'll move away, and it's hard as a mother to see that.
And Kevin's 4, so he understands this rejection.
Yeah, it takes him really hard. He's sheltered now.
Oh, wow. Did he just refer to his supposed fiancée as that? Now I'm starting to have doubts if he really wants to tie the knot with Ms. Mahoney. Mr. Watson went on to explain to the judge how he found out his wife was messing around with other men. Trust me, it was a juicy story, but Ms. Mahoney claimed the men he was talking about were family friends.
Taking care of her. Now, me as a man personally, I'm not gonna do that for no woman.
Being a man, though, you should have left me.
I never left.
Miss Mahoney, did you have 2 men living with you?
Yes, ma'am.
You did?
I had no job. I had nothing to fend for myself. They were close family friends, and they just wanted to help me help them. I agreed to let them stay, and if I needed some toilet paper down, anything.
The family friend said, yes, Ms. Mahoney, what have you really been up to? Now, Mr. Watson and Ms. Mahoney get into a heated argument about the other man claiming to be the father of the child. Mr. Watson claimed the other man was calling his son his child, but Ms. Mahoney denied the claims, saying this.
There's a difference between a father and a dad. Just to know that.
What you mean? He the one talking about that? That's his kid.
He provided for him.
Okay, I was away. I couldn't.
When I called you and he was hungry, then what?
I was away. There was nothing I could do.
Like I said, there's a difference between being a father
and if he was my kid, so bring other men around my kid?
That's a fair point. You can't control someone else's feelings, but you can most definitely control their presence in your house. In trying to bail herself out of the situation, she told the judge that the other guy in question wanted to ruin their relationship, so he told Mr. Watson that they slept with each other.
Why would a guy say to you?
I believe he probably does love me, but I don't love him, and I needed help, and all he wanted was a room, and that's all.
But why would he say you were having sex with him if you weren't?
Because he knows that if he were to tell him that he's gonna walk out and he's gonna leave me, and that's what happened.
So you're saying he's just saying that to break you apart?
And I'll be crying, upset, and he'll try to...
Oh, so Mr. Watson wasn't in the good books either. That explains why she felt very hurt by the situation. Still very hurt by the whole situation, she dropped a truth bomb in the courtroom, claiming that they had a DNA test done before, and the results showed Mr. Watson as the father.
So I went and we got DNA.
You took a DNA test?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened?
I went and was on government assistance and child support. We had to comply with them. And they asked me who the father was. I told them who he was. and he ran from all the things, and finally they found him and had him go up there and take the DNA.
What did the DNA test say?
99.9%.
Now that just adds more drama to the entire case. Could the papers really have been forged? Who knows? Anyway, Judge Lauren decided to drill Ms. Mahoney a little by asking her if she was 100% certain that Mr. Watson was the father of her child and that she wasn't sleeping with anyone else. This was her answer.
Here.
Is there something you have not said? Is there another man that could potentially be Kevin's biological father?
No, ma'am. And
Are there any other men?
No, ma'am. We have broken up, and I've had other, relationships with men, but never around when I got pregnant.
Well, Ms. Mahoney and Mr. Watson have a lot on the line, and there's no denying that. Without wasting any time, Judge Lauren felt it was time to reveal the results in the envelope. Has Ms. Mahoney been lying all this while? Let's find out.
Mr. Watson, you are the father.
See? I love you so much.
I'm sorry, baby. I love you.
I love you so much.
I love you. I'm sorry, baby.
I know. It's okay.
It's okay.
This is one messy situation you will never forget. Trust me, Ms. Bargy found herself in the middle of two men, her husband and her ex-boyfriend. The crazy thing about this situation was that both men believed they were the father of Ms. Bargy's baby, and she had no idea who the father was. She started her case by saying this.
Ms. Bargy, you and I spoke briefly in my chambers.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit you cheated on your husband, and now you are caught in a paternity triangle, with both men believing they fathered your 2-month-old daughter, McKenna.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are hoping today's DNA results prove that your husband is her father.
At least she's not denying making a mistake, and the beautiful part is that she wants to find a way out. Judge Lauren, understanding the intensity of the situation, proceeds to ask her husband what type of bond he had built with the child. As you would expect, he loved the baby beyond words could explain.
Mr. Bargy?
Yes.
You've fallen in love with McKenna.
Yes.
Tell me about the relationship you have with her.
I could be at work for 10 to 12 hours a day. I take 5 minutes out of my time, busy or not at work, video call, sit here like that right there. I wake her up when I get home.
Aren't they just cute in that video? Anyway, Mr. Lawson, the ex-boyfriend, wasn't ready to give up his claim of being the father of the child even after seeing Ms. Bargy's husband and the baby bond so well. He decided to tell the judge the reason why he felt he was the father of the child, and started like this.
I believe I am because I was around. She was with me when she got pregnant. I was there for the whole pregnancy. I was there when McKenna was born.
Ms. Bargy, can you explain to the court how we got here?
I was having issues with my husband when I came back. We had been together for about a month, and we ended up having intimate time.
Seems like the break from her marriage took a wild turn, and now she's paying the consequences. Now trust me, that's not all. When she found out she was pregnant, she told Mr. Lawson before her husband. Why? Because they were living together at the time. Oh, you heard right.
The day that I found out was the end of April. It was April the 27th. The whole month of April I was getting sick, and I took a pregnancy test, and then it came back that I was pregnant.
Who did you tell first?
I told my mother first, and me and Calvin had been living together.
Even Judge Lauren was disappointed to hear that, but there was more disappointment coming her way. Ms. Bargy never mentioned the pregnancy to her husband. She claimed she didn't have the courage to confront him about it. But here's how he found out.
The time when you actually got up the courage to tell your husband that you were pregnant and McKenna could be his child.
I did not tell my husband, period. He had a mutual friend that was on my Facebook, and they had actually sent him a picture of me posting an ultrasound, and then he started contacting me, and then finally I had to sit down with him and talk to him and tell him.
Wow, so she was sleeping with Mr. Lawson and her husband at the same time? That explains why they both feel they could be possible fathers of the baby. But the truth bombs keep getting worse. Ms. Bargy went on to tell the judge that she found out that her husband was also sleeping with his ex.
One time, and that was due to the fact that he had spoken to one of my friends, and they had talked about actually being together. My friend was one of his exes. His ex actually messaged me and was showing me messages that him and her were sleeping together when me and him.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Oh, I'm siding with Judge Lauren. That's one big mess. Unlike Ms. Bargie's husband, Mr. Lawson had no relationship with the child in question. He claimed that when he tried to be in the child's life several times, Ms. Bargie was evasive because she wanted her husband to be the father of the child.
Right now, I don't have a relationship because when Miss Bargie left, we have talked and tried to set up times for me to see her, but there is a lack of information.
You feel like she's being evasive.
Your Honor, I have given him plenty opportunities to see her. I've called him 3 and 4 days in advance and said, look, do you want to see her on this day? And he'll say,
Could Mr. Lawson be lying about trying to see her child? Who knows? Ms. Bargie made one thing clear to the judge. She claimed that if Mr. Lawson ended up being the father, she wouldn't want him anywhere near her child.
If Mr. Lawson is McKenna's biological father, have you thought about where you go from here?
if Mr. Lawson is her father, I do not want him to be a part of her life, period. Like, I want rights terminated because my daughter deserves so much better. My husband has been there and took care of her since all this has happened. He has been an amazing father.
She must really dislike Mr. Lawson. Well, it's time we reveal the DNA results and bring their paternity drama to an end. Let's see if Ms. Bargie's prayers are going to be answered.
Mr. Bargie or Mr. Lawson is the father of 2-month-old McKenna Bargie. It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Lawson. You are McKenna's biological father, Mr. Lawson.
That's okay.
Ms. Schwartz opened her case to prove to her longtime lover that he was the biological father of her child. Even though she admitted that he was right to have doubts, she still believed he was the father of her child. The lover, on the other hand, claimed the baby belonged to her husband, and there was no way he could be the father.
Ms. Schwartz, you opened your case to prove to the defendant that he fathered your 9-month-old child, Azalyn.
Yes.
You understand his doubt, but state he is her father. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Hatton, you claim you are not Azalyn's dad and are certain that her biological father is another man. And that man is the plaintiff's husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on. Did she just say they have 2 other children together? Oh, wow. Mr. Hatton, the defendant, wasn't going to sit there and just let her paint him like the bad guy. He cut Ms. Schwartz and told the judge about how messy her lifestyle was. Trust me, he had quite a lot to say.
Who makes almost $11 an hour, paid every 2 weeks, and only brings home $100? I mean, come on. I was born at night, just not last night.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Your Honor, I mean, I don't believe I'm the dad. I do question the way that she lives her life. I mean, it's reckless.
Reckless?
Yes.
If I were in that courtroom, I'd have the same reaction as Judge Lauren. Now, when Ms. Schwartz got pregnant, her relationship with Mr. Hatton wasn't particularly a bed of roses from what he could remember. He claimed they were always fighting and Ms. Schwartz would disappear after every fight.
What was the nature of your relationship?
Okay, the nature of our relationship wasn't good. Okay, it was bad, it was rough, it was rocky roads. We were fighting every day. I could say something and then she's gone. That's what she.
So how long was she gone when she'd leave the house?
Like 2 weeks at a time.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Congratulations. He definitely doesn't want to be the father of this child. When Ms. Schwartz was ready to give birth to her child, she wanted Mr. Hatton to be by her side throughout the entire process. But Mr. Hatton didn't have the stomach to be in the theater with her.
Azalyn was born the day she was born.
Man, she wanted me to look between her legs and pull the baby out. I ain't no doctor. I sure ain't name her.
He didn't want to witness none of it. You were saying you didn't want to see that. And there are a lot of dads that can't see all that.
Because how my daddy raised me, no, there's things for a man to see in this world, and there's things that a man shouldn't see, and that's one of them.
Now that is just messed up, Ms. Schwartz. Naming your child after the 2 men she was sleeping with, that's another level of crazy. One thing Mr. Hatton made certain was that he was not the child's father. In his words, he claimed he was more of a caretaker than a father to the baby.
So listen, let's use respectful language. Mr. Hatton, I want to ask you this. So you believe Ms. Schwartz's husband is Azalyn's biological father?
With all due respect, it's not a matter of believing. I know he is.
And so how do you know?
Because, I mean, come on. I mean, you don't just go stay the night at people's houses when you're married, lay in the same bed and not do nothing.
Judge Lauren was tired of listening to Ms. Schwartz and Mr. Hatton go back and forth about who was telling the truth and who was lying. She decided it was time to hear from Ms. Schwartz's husband. When he walked into the courtroom, this was what he had to say to the judge. Trust me, you aren't ready for what he is about to say.
She told me she was cheating on me, and I let her go.
And I was also calling him on the phone right in front of you.
Yeah, and you guys even got into an argument one night, and I picked the phone up, called Hatton back, and talked you guys through it. I even took you the 250 miles to him.
So isn't this a love triangle like we ain't never seen before?
This has to be the craziest love triangle to ever exist in Judge Lauren's courtroom. Anyway, it's time the drama came to an end. Now, it's time to determine who the real father of the child is. This was the verdict the judge gave.
Pertaining to whether Mr. Hatton or Mr. Schwartz is the father of 9-month-old Azalyn Hatton, it has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Hatton. She is your daughter, Mr. Hatton.
And I thank you, Your Honor.